I just did want to spend a few minutes on a couple of subjects. Earlier this year we had a meeting, a global meeting in Princeton in the US, and I was asked the question, or there was a question posted out there, is Jeff going to retire? And of course it was given to me to answer. And what a wonderful question to have that somebody asked me. I mean, the answer was, I sincerely hope so. Just think about the alternatives. They're not quite so attractive, really. But I did say at the time that I had some things that I had on my agenda that I wanted to get done ahead of my retirement. And I feel those things are pretty much done. If I look at where we are now in global operations, we've been at this almost 5 years, since we started the new organisation, and I think we really do have in place a very solid set of foundations. I think the alignment that we have, I think is a big change, versus how we were before. I think we have obviously a lot of systems in common. I know there are challenges with the systems. We've got to keep working at those to make them effective for us. But I think in the end, I think it'll make us a much stronger team and a much stronger organisation. So I think the foundations are pretty solid, and I think Joe's talk on Tuesday, his thoughts about the future, I think kind of leveraging on the foundations that we've built, and indeed, and some of those have been built for many, many years in terms of the history of the company. But I think there's just a tremendous opportunity for this group, going forward. And I think it is this is a new phase. We have a largely new global operations leadership team, a lot of new faces in new positions. I think it's a great team. It's going to be an outstanding team, and I think it's something to look forward to. So that's the context. That's how I feel about leaving at this point. I think it is a point in time that I felt was appropriate. I think the other thing is, of course, as we heard yesterday, the results of the corporation in FY7 are outstanding, and the fact that we made these wonderful round numbers and the objectives and everything else, we should all be proud of. We've all been a part of that. And again, I see, this is not the end. This is the beginning, in my mind, of a lot of great things, to come for the company. I think it's been a period of the last few years. I think there's been more change in our products in the last few years than there has been in my 36. I would say the last 6 been more change than in the previous 30. If you think about the acquisitions, the divestitures, SAP, we love to hate it. Some of us hate to love it, but all of these changes are very big changes. The global businesses, global functions, etc. And I really think we are geared up for a fantastic future. So I think all that is good. I wanted to leave you with a couple of things to think about on your way home, and hopefully perhaps a little bit beyond that. The first of these is process safety, and we had it on the agenda. I talked about process safety. Mark Begg talked about process safety, properly highlighted. But I just wanted to say a few words on that. It is about survival. It's about survival of our people. People who live around our sites. Ultimately, it's the survival of the business and the company. And we all know companies who have had serious process safety accidents and have not recovered. And I really think it's up to this team really, to keep a high level of focus around process safety. I think we do have, I think we have a great history, a very strong history in process safety. I think we do have the procedures, the work processes and everything else to help us manage it effectively. I think when we have accidents, which we do, I think in general we find very few gaps in the systems, that we have. And I think we saw that in Hattingen, for example, that, there were things that we weren't doing. So I think it's up to this team. I think compliance is absolutely key, and I think we've all got to really drive that hard. But the other element on process safety, and it was really the BP Texas City accident. There's tremendous learnings from that. We've taken time to look at those and have taken a few things out of that. But the thing that struck me most, as you look through that, is the issue that they had, the breakdown of communication, complete breakdown of communication that they had between the frontline workers and the senior management. If you look at what was happening in Texas City, I think if the senior management had been really understanding that in BP, then I'm sure that there would have been action taken. And where the blame lies, who knows? We're not BP. And I feel confident that we have a culture that enables us to raise issues. But let's make sure that all our people know that it is okay to raise issues. Not just in process safety, but I really want to say process safety is one that we cannot, in any way, shape or form, live with issues out there that we're not happy with. If we've got issues that we're not happy with, we have to escalate them. Hyde said it in his talk. Joe and I put together a communication on this out to everybody, and we're very serious about this, because if we don't know, if the leadership isn't involved in these issues that perhaps take quite a lot of resource, money, whatever it is, we've really got to fix them. So you should not be carrying that weight on your shoulders, and you should be definitely pushing the issue, escalating it through the organisation. So that's the first one. That's the first one to think about, and I'd like everybody to make sure as they walk around their facilities and so on, that we're doing a good job there. The second one, and we already talked about that also a number of times at this meeting, is people. And as you know, it's a very favourite subject of mine. I think we're at a challenging point in the history of the company here, because it might be that we have more opportunities as a company and more investment availability than we have people to enact in terms of building plants and operating plants and so on. We could become people constrained. I think maybe in some areas we probably feel that already, but this could be a big impact on the company. So having said we're all teed up and ready to go for the future, this is a really key area for us that everybody in this room has to really think about, and I think has to do more, quite frankly. It isn't HR's problem. HR can help. It's our problem, to drive these issues. So what can we do? And I think we have to, again, perhaps ask ourselves a few questions. We talked about employee involvement and diversity earlier, and I was very pleased to hear that we're looking at reinvigorating that and also involving people at all kinds of different levels in the organisation in that. And I think that is absolutely key to have that kind of leadership group. But if you think about it, this is not very complicated, this subject, if you really boil it down. There's a couple of aspects. There's the working environment. Okay, the environment in our plants, with our teams, wherever we're working. Let's think about the working environment. Is it an environment of trust, respect, inclusiveness? Does everybody in your plant, in your team, feel that they can make a full contribution every day at work. Most of the people in this room are part of the dominant group. And those of us, many of us, perhaps not all of us yet have had some new members here, but you know, our diversity training education program. So it is often invisible to us that there are people in the organisation, in the subordinate groups, people of difference, who don't feel as comfortable in their jobs and as part of the team as others. And you really got to think about that, and you really, as leaders, you really have to go and make sure that's okay. Talk to the people, you know, find out what the issues are, because we have, you know, there's no question in my mind we're not perfect in this. Why does this matter? Well, it really matters because I think we do need to access all of the talent that we can. The other element here on diversity, I'd like to talk about for a few minutes is really the people that we have in our organisations. Do the people in your plant, in your group, whatever, if you look at those folks, think about those folks, do they reflect the people outside the company who could be working for us? Okay? Does this look like a similar mix of people? Again, if it doesn't, you know, we are missing out on talent. You know, if we have in our groups a lot of people of one type, if I can use that simple term, then the chances are there's a lot of people out there that you know, could also contribute to our company. Why is this important? Well, it's important, coming back to the first point, that we're going to be limited by people, I think, in our growth potentially. So we need to create an environment, we need to have a diverse group of people, all of whom feel comfortable working for us and excited about working for us. It's very simple. Sometimes we can get all tied up in the US issue and equal opportunity employer and all that stuff. But it's exactly the same situation in all areas of the world. Different legislation, different issues, but nevertheless. So I would like you to think about that and really test yourself on you know, are we, you know, do we have that? We have a great opportunity because we're going to be hiring quite a few people. So let's think about the sort of people that we want to hire, the breadth, the diversity of people that we want to hire over the next few years. So that was the first thing on the people front. The second one was really, as leaders again, are we spending the time developing and coaching our people? Are we really doing that? If I think back to my career, I had an awful lot of help on the way. Lots of help, lots of people kind of helping me and being involved. We're a much bigger organisation now, but it still is a really important element, you know, actually looking at our people. Sometimes we get into a situation where, you know, in a particular area there isn't much growth and perhaps there aren't too many promotional opportunities. If that is the case, we have to create opportunities for people. We have to force ourselves to do that. We've got to work across the organisation, you know, to try and look for opportunities for people. So I think if we do this, I think it'll make us a better company, a more successful company. I think we'll have an even higher performing workforce. So I think it's an enhancement on an already very, very strong team and strong organisation. So just in closing here, I would like to say we talked about results, and I think this is a great team of people, you and all of your teams in the plants and elsewhere. I think the results absolutely speak for themselves. If you look at what you have done this year in Europe, it's outstanding. I think somebody said the safety performance is world class. It's leading world class, you know, in my view. Really, very, very strong performance, and productivity driving our improvements. So I thank you for that. I think it's been a tremendous tremendous year. Look forward to obviously next year when the bar is raised as usual. So, in closing, I'd just like to say I'm very proud to have been part of this team, for many years, and I look forward to your great successes in the future. Thank you.